Welcome to our deep dive. We're going to be exploring personality typology today.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. We'll be using Personality Hacker as our guide.
Oh, by Joel Mark Witt and Antonia Dodge. A great resource.
Definitely. It's all about understanding yourself and those around you.
And using the Myers-Briggs system, right?
Right. But we'll also get into those Jungian cognitive functions. It's kind of like
Like a decoder ring for your mind.
exactly, a decoder ring. But first, got to remember that the Myers-Briggs system isn't.
It's not about putting people in boxes.
It's not. There are 16 personality types, but it's more about
Understanding tendencies.
exactly like a map. It shows you the landscape. But
Doesn't dictate your route.
precisely, it's a starting point. So let's start with the dichotomies. This is
The building blocks.
yes, we have introversion versus extroversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and
Judging versus perceiving.
you got it. Now, these might seem simple, but
There's a lot of nuance there.
a lot. For instance, some introverts are actually quite,
Talkative.
it's true, and some extroverts can be pretty.
Reserved.
Yeah. It's more about where you get your energy and
How you recharge.
so true. Okay, next up, sensing and intuition. People who prefer sensing, they focus on.
Facts and data. Concrete stuff.
And they often have amazing memories because
They pay attention to details.
while intuitives, they're all about.
Patterns. Seeing connections.
It's almost like they can predict the future sometimes.
Well, it is about seeing patterns and extrapolating.
Fascinating. Then we have thinking and feeling. This one, it seems like,
It can cause some misunderstandings.
definitely, thinkers can sometimes seem
Insensitive.
because they lead with logic, whereas feelers,
They value empathy.
and they're often good at navigating.
Social situations.
Yes, almost like politicians. Now, last we have judging and perceiving, which is all about,
How you interact with the world.
exactly. Judgers love structure, while perceivers,
They're adaptable.
they thrive on spontaneity. Might even be great at, like,
Improv.
totally. Okay, so we got our 4 dichotomies, but now let's move on to,
The cognitive functions.
yes, these are kind of the,
Engine under the hood.
exactly. We all use all 8, but the order of preference.
That's what creates your personality type.
The book uses this analogy of a car.
Ah, the car model.
Yes. Your dominant function is the driver. It's your,
Most natural skill.
right. Then there's the co-pilot, which helps the driver.
Stay balanced.
And then we have the 10-year-old function, which can be,
Helpful sometimes. A bit mischievous too.
and finally the 3-year-old function. This one is often
Unconscious.
and can cause problems when we're stressed.
Those grip experiences.
Okay, so how do these functions create those 16 personality types?
Well, each type has its own unique combination. For example, ESFPs, they have dominant sensation, so
They're good with their bodies.
incredibly, like they can extend their awareness into tools and objects.
Wow. Then there are the ISTJs with their dominant memory. They,
Remember everything.
seriously,
It's like they have a mental library of their entire lives.
I could barely remember what I had for breakfast. What about, say, INTPs?
The analytical types,
Yeah.
well, they have dominant accuracy. They love testing theories, and
They like being proven wrong,
they do, because it means they're learning.
so debate is a good thing for them.
Absolutely. It helps them refine their understanding. For them, it's a growth opportunity. Then there are INFJs with dominant perspectives. They're really tuned to
Emotions.
yes, they can sense their own and other people's, and they see individuals in the context of
Relationships.
exactly. They have this deep empathy and understanding. Of course, these are just a few examples. Each of those 16 types, they all have their own,
Unique stack.
yes, their unique combination of functions. So how can we use all this for personal growth?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do we apply it?
Well, self-awareness is key. Once you understand your strengths, your areas for growth, you can really utilize your driver function. And then there's the co-pilot.
Right, developing that for more balance.
And of course, managing those less developed functions, especially when
When you're stressed.
precisely, it's about accepting who you are, imperfections and all. And then there's this really interesting model the authors introduce.
Oh, tell me more.
It's called the FIRM model.
Firm. What does that stand for?
Freedom, invulnerability, rightness, and management.
Sounds intriguing. What's the basic idea?
Each personality type, based on their dominant function, tends to fixate on one of these 4 needs. And when those needs aren't met,
That's when problems arise.
exactly, it can lead to unhealthy behaviors and those loops we talked about.
So let me guess. The EPs, the freedom-loving types, they fixate on freedom, right?
Spot on. They're all about exploring possibilities. Constraints and limitations, that's their fear. And then there are the IJs. They crave invulnerability, security, predictability.
So they're the planners, always prepared.
They are. They fear the unknown, so they try to create stability and order.
What about the IPs, those analytical types?
IPs, they fear incompetence, so they fixate on rightness. Accuracy and precision is really important to them.
So it's not about ego, it's about getting it right.
Absolutely. They need to understand things thoroughly. And lastly, there are the EJs. They crave harmony and efficiency,
So their fear is chaos.
and they fixate on management. They're the organizers, the ones who keep things running smoothly.
Spreadsheets, color-coded calendars, the whole 9 yards.
They need structure and order. But of course, these fixations, if they go too far,
They can become problems.
precisely, it's about finding that balance. So knowing your firm fixation, it can help you understand.
Your motivations.
Exactly. It's another piece of the puzzle. We've covered a lot of ground here. Dichotomies, functions, firm M, model.
It's amazing how much depth there is to personality.
It is. It's like a map showing us who we are and who we can become.
So if we were to boil it all down, what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, the biggest thing is self-awareness. Understanding your personality isn't about labeling yourself. It's about recognizing your patterns so you can make conscious choices.
Like having a user manual for your mind.
I like that. And it's about knowing your strengths, but also those areas where you might need some.
Extra help.
Exactly. And remember, those less developed functions, the 10-year-old and 3-year-old, they can be assets too. It's just about managing them.
Integrating them into a whole.
Right. So where do we go from here? What's the next step?
Good question. The authors emphasize self-development. And once you know your positive functions, you can focus on.
Developing your co-pilot, that auxiliary function,
So for example, if your driver is intuition, you might work on your sensing side.
to become more grounded. Or if your dominant function is thinking, you might develop your feeling side to improve your empathy.
It's all about becoming a more well-rounded individual, like finding those missing puzzle pieces.
And unlocking your full potential, understanding your personality type. It's not about limitations. It's about...
Possibility.
Exactly. It's a journey of growth.
I love that. So let's give our listeners some concrete takeaways. Say 10 key points.
Okay, 10 key points. Here we go.
Hit me with number 1.
Personality insights. Explore those 16 Myers-Briggs types. See how they view the world. It's fascinating.
Number 2. The mechanics of the mind.
Mental mechanics. Delve into those 8 cognitive functions. Figure out how they drive your thinking and actions.
Number 3. What makes you tick?
Inner drive. Discover your driver function. That's your superpower. Learn how to use it to your advantage.
Number 4. Time to level up.
Growth potential. Uncover your co-pilot function. It's a hidden strength just waiting to be developed.
Number 5. Let's face the shadows.
Shadow side. Explore those less developed functions, the 10-year-old and 3-year-old. They can cause trouble, but they also hold potential.
Number 6. The story of you.
Personal narrative. Unlock the firm model. Understand your core needs and fears. They shape how you interact with the world.
Number 7. Who are the free spirits?
Freedom seekers unravel the motivations of EPs. They crave freedom and new experiences.
Number 8. The guardians of stability.
Security guardians decode the strategies of IJs. They value security and predictability. Structure is their friend.
Number 9. Seekers of truth.
Truth champions analyze the methods of IPs. They're all about accuracy and getting things right. Precision is key.
And finally, number 10. Masters of order.
Order architects decipher the tactics of EJs. They thrive on management and efficient systems. They're the ones who keep everything running smoothly.
Wow, what a whirlwind tour of personality. We've gone from the basics to some really deep concepts.
It's been a great exploration.
It is. So to our listeners, we say, take this knowledge and run with it.
Explore your own type, experiment with developing your co-pilot function, and use this understanding to improve your relationships.
It's a journey of self-discovery, and it all starts with awareness. It's fascinating how these basic concepts, the dichotomies, cognitive functions, can reveal so much about us.
It's true. The part of these frameworks, they really help us break down these intricate psychological concepts into something we can grasp, something practical.
Absolutely. We've journeyed through quite a bit in this deep dive, from those fundamental pieces to those nuanced ideas like the firm model and how those cognitive functions all work together.
We've explored all 16 personality types, haven't we? Examining what makes each one unique, their strengths, their challenges, how they see and interact with the world.
And emphasize that self-awareness, that's the key. Encouraging our listener to begin their exploration, their growth.
Hoping we've provided them with the tools to really harness their strengths, cultivate those areas that need a little more attention, and become the best version of themselves.
So as we wrap up, what final thought would you offer our listener? What message should they carry forward?
I think the biggest thing is to approach this journey with curiosity and open mind. Personality typology, it's not about having all the answers. It's more about cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and those around us.
It's about recognizing that we're all complex, with our own mix of strengths, weaknesses, things we prefer, things we struggle with. All of that shapes our experiences, our interactions.
And appreciating that diversity, that each personality type brings something valuable to the table, to the world.
Exactly. Understanding these different personality types, It helps us navigate relationships with more empathy, with compassion, with awareness.
It allows us to communicate better, to appreciate those different perspectives, build stronger connections built on that understanding.
So to our listener, we say this: go out and explore this world of personality. Find your type, learn about those 8 cognitive functions, and use that knowledge to improve your relationships, realize your potential, and live a more authentic life.
A more fulfilling life.
And remember, it's a journey, this self-discovery. It's a process of growth, of evolving, and it never really ends.
Until next time, happy exploring.